Welcome back to Business Edition, and now we feature the second and final part of our interview with the Managing Director of Express Shipping in The Entrepreneur. How was it like for you, a Kenyan company, starting into Tanzania, a business, setting up a business in Tanzania? What was it like? And what is the competition like for you as well?
Well, competition will always be stiff, and it has been for us. Setting up as one of the few African managed companies competing against the globally recognized companies with global brands. They get their businesses from abroad. We get our business mostly from within the market. And when you set your house in order and you provide the right service, people will always come and business will always come. It will follow the right combination of quality of service as well as the price tag. So for us, it's been good.
Okay. And the environment of starting up a business in terms of regulation and licensing?
Yeah, it's a bit different in Tanzania compared to Kenya. Tanzania is a bit more regulated, which requires you to navigate very, very well to make sure that you fulfill all the obligations. Obviously, it adds the cost of doing business. It adds to the cost of doing business. But if it's a regulation, then we have to meet the regulations as they are. Of course, sometimes it can help to have a less regulated market and encourage self-regulation in the industry in itself. But we meet the regulations under the circumstances.
Increasing trade volumes, especially within the member countries of the East African community. How do you assess it so far?
I think there is good trade, and I crossed the ferry at Likoni many times, to give an example. And over the last 2 years, we see a lot of trucks lined up from the Tanzanian side to cross to Mombasa, and I applaud that. Previously, it used to be a little bit more imbalanced, more goods going towards Tanzania side and Uganda as well. But we are seeing this gradually changing. I can tell you today, one of the best brands of ice cream we take in Mombasa is Tanzanian made, the Azam one. And as long as the right product is produced for the market, it will sell. What I always tell everybody is, once you are able to do something very good and do it produce, if it's a service or a product, it will find the market and you'll be able to export it. And it's something to be encouraged. Africa doesn't trade with Africa, and that's unfortunate. When you go to Europe, when you go to US and Canada, in the North American continent, there's a lot of trade, intra-continent trade. Asia as well. But the problem of our poverty in Africa is, number one, that we don't trade with each other. If we do that, intra-Africa, we keep the money flowing within ourselves instead of sending them to overseas markets to buy, then if my neighbor prospers, if their standards of living go up, it means that they will be able to afford more of our products and vice versa. So trading with Africa is, I think, the right thing to do. And I'm seeing more and more of that happening. There is a cement company in Tanga today that is producing cement clinker, which is semi-finished cement, and exporting that to Kenya. The trucks are crossing in hundreds of tons every day. And that's a good thing, and vice versa. So we are trading, we're creating jobs on both sides of the borders. That is something that must be accelerated if we are to get our people out of the poverty that Africa has always been.
Do you see the Port of Mombasa and the Port of Dar es Salaam as competitors? Because each of us are trying to grab the members within the East African community as our customers. Or do you ever see them, the two ports, as somehow trying to promote each other, trying to come together to make sure that everyone gets their portion of share within the member states? And
I hear a lot of people talking about competition more than the positives that come out of it. Competition is good. Let's start from there. If there is competition, then competition brings in an adjustment in the level of service to keep improving from both the ports. But also, there is some collaboration that is a must within those 2 or 3 ports, or even more that will be coming in the future, like the port of Bagamoyo, Lamu. They will coexist. When we grow the trades, there will be enough pie for everybody. I think what we need to concentrate on is to build the volumes for exports within East Africa that Mtwara will have enough business. Ships will call there, load, get full, and ship out. Dar es Salaam will do the same, whether it's Bagamoyo, Lamu, Mombasa, and all what the other small ports they were talking in the afternoon. There is enough. You look at Europe today, you see the biggest ports, some of them, Bremen, Hamburg, Rotterdam, they are within 100 or 200 kilometers of each other. Are they competing? Yes, they are competing, but there is enough pie for everybody. And that competition brings in more trade because they are competing for service. Each one of them has to produce the right service to attract business. Who's the winner? The port user. And then that's where people benefit. But there's another aspect to it. There is no way all these container ships, for example, they coming from Asia or some transshipment port like Salalah, no port in East Africa, the ship comes to that particular port and goes back. East Africa is marketed as one destination. So you got a ship coming from anywhere in the world, Salalah, for example, or South Africa. She must call Mombasa, she must call Dar es Salaam. There is no way a ship, Mombasa, will have enough business and cargo to fill a ship. So when Tanzania is doing well and Mombasa, one thing they should do is cooperate to go and bring the business together, because the ship will not call Mombasa or Dar es Salaam alone. The ship will call Dar es Salaam and Mombasa to be able to gather enough cargo for economies of scale, especially with the new bigger ships. We've seen now we're having 6,000 TEU ships. The ship that called Mombasa recently with 6,000, the next day the ship was in Dar es Salaam. Same ship, 6,000 tons. That ship needs to be filled with containers. There's no way that ship can be filled by containers in Dar es Salaam or in Mombasa. So cooperation in marketing between the 2 ports will enable us to get more business as a block, because you can't sell one port. It's not just the nature of shipping. The dynamics are that you can't sell one port. You can't sell Mombasa alone, and you can't sell Dar es Salaam alone as a container port. That's not possible. So the cooperation is important. And to keep talking, and I know they do that a lot. Mombasa sends delegation to Dar es Salaam delegation comes here. They learn from each other. If a ship, for example, goes to Dar es Salaam, she's able to discharge fast, for example. Within 2-3 days, she can finish. If she comes to Mombasa and finds congestion, and she has to wait, let's say for a week, a hypothetical situation, the ship owner is costing the entire voyage, and therefore the freight rates are determined by the number of days that the full complete voyage is completed. That affects everybody, whether you discharge faster in Dar es Salaam or in Mombasa and the other port doesn't perform. So it's to the interest of both ports to make sure that all of them perform and move forward at the same time. I hope we all understand that.
Okay, looking at the ports of Dar es Salaam and the port of Mombasa, what would you like to see maybe in the next 10 to 15 years? And we're looking at improvements within the services and efficiency at these 2 ports.
Yeah, look at what I would like to see as a port user, as a shipping agent in both Kenya and Tanzania, is very efficient services. And I'm talking about ships being able to berth on arrival, being able to discharge at the globally accepted levels. We will need to see a lot of mechanization and a lot of specialization in the sense that mechanical discharge and loading. We would like to see more of proactivity of the government treating ports as transit points and not as assets to generate money exactly, but to generate money, but to facilitate trade for the growth of everybody, so that the local person is able to export and import and trade. Actually, the key word is trade. When the local person is able to trade, the whole society grows. So the port should not be any hindrance. So we would like to see very good roads, and we would like to see very well efficiently run ports. We would like to see customer responsive ports, not monopolistic ports that have no leeway, or they're not flexible for the ultimate customer. At the end of the day, it's wealth generation for the local people.
Well, that's it from me, Yvonne Msemembo. Until next week, same time, it's goodbye from Business Edition.